Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Zed. Today we're going to be talking about XLFLEET once more. The ticker goes by XL. Make sure to drop a like to this video to help this channel grow. Subscribe and leave notifications on. If you would like to watch my previous video, you'll find it in the description below. Let's jump right into this one. So XLFLEET, there's been a lot of coverage about this one before, and I'm happy to talk about it again. This is one of the stocks that I really like. Their technology breaks into 5. XL Hybrid, which is a hybrid system that delivers 25% increase of miles per gallon and a 20% reduction in carbon dioxide emissions in class 2 to 6. XL plug-in systems, these are hybrids as well, and they plug in into Ford F-150s or F-250s pickup trucks, and they also delivered 50% miles per gallon increase and a 33% reduction in carbon dioxide. And then you have the XL Link, which provides basically a fleet management system to track your fleet, their emissions, etc. And XL Grid is nothing more than a charging system. And then you go towards the technology part here, you'll also see XL Electric. So XL Electric here, and I'll just read it quickly, is a zero emission propulsion system. And basically it's driving the future of transportation, and XLFLEET will be driving the future of all electric vehicles. We're currently developing a full electric platform that will power some of the most power, medium, and heavy-duty commercial vehicles on the road today. Once it's released, XLFLEET will become the only provider with a full suite of electrification systems in operations for commercial and vocational use, hybrid and plug-in hybrid battery systems. And one of the latest news that we have, we're going to have to cover them first. The XLFLEET provides investors for redemption of public warrants. The deadline to that is until March 1st, 5 p.m. Next, XLFLEET partnering with curb tenders to develop all-electric plug-in hybrid refuse trucks. Now that is amazing because refuse trucks are rarely ever a full EV. And so they will be jointly working with them to create a battery electric system and a hybrid electric system, or a plug-in hybrid electric. BEV and PHEV. This will help them as well provide a full electric system and hybrid systems for class 3 to 8. And if you're not familiar with curb tenders or refuse trucks, it's right on here in the picture. Think about dumpster trucks, whatever. There's different names for them. That is a big kind of market for them, especially in cities where they're trying to go as well net zero or trying to move on towards electrical vehicles. And refuse trucks, there's a lot of them. They have a really important purpose, and if you're able to put them into at least hybrid, that reduces emission by a ton. Next, XLFLEET Core announces timing of fourth quarter and full year 2020 earning, and that will be on the March 30th, 2021. Really excited to see that later on. Next here, services you can count on. I covered this one here. Some of the services highlights, including up to 75,000 miles. That covers basically that's their warranty there, or even 3 years. So they do give warranties towards the product, and that's important because you got to stand by your product. More customers, more miles, more impact. I don't think that is actually impactful because we've already kind of gone through that before. Over 100 million miles, cumulative miles have been driven. Amazing. Any latest news? We don't have any latest news in terms of SEC filings. There has been a couple of SEC filings actually, but they're all related to warrants and shares related to that redemption for the end of the month. Summary of financials, and this is actually something that I'm really looking forward. Check the revenue. 2019 actual, you're looking at 7.2. I'm looking at 2020 and see how far off are they from the 21 million. And if they actually met or got very close or beat that 21 million, I do definitely think that then they're 647 by 2023 and 1.3 billion by 2024 is still reachable, and that's important. And the biggest thing that I want to look at is how far are they from becoming net positive. You get to see their EBITDA. I'm looking for that to be positive. Last year it was around 13.1. This year is all estimated to be around 10. 2021 there's a bit of an increase there, around 15.40, and 2022 they're looking at 30.70. So that is some key things to look at. But I'm really looking forward towards seeing at least their gross profits to be positive, which I expect them to be. And yeah, it's gonna really set the market on March 30th. Anticipated use of funds that they have put before was basically broken as follow, because they had $350 million cash, interest, and PI proceeds. $25 million of that will go for core profitability. $50 million of that will go to product development. 25 million of that goes to international expansion, 80 million goes to electrification as a service, and 170 million goes as corporate development and general corporate. So the first one, increase organization capacity and scale up sourcing and operations. That's again for the scale for core profitability. The next, product developments, that's for class 4 to 6 EV and classes 7 to 8 EV. I do now recognize that some of you are not familiar with the classes. I'll go through that in a second. International expansion here, you're looking at secure distribution partners internationally, adapt system to local chases and requirements, electrification as a service, roll out attractive application segments and finance vehicles infrastructure, corporate developments and general corporate, buy versus make opportunities to accelerate the EV productions and growth and pay down or pay debt. So a quick thing towards the classes, just because I said I will cover that. There you go here. So this is basically a little bit of what's in development. You see the XL plug-in and the XL electric for some of the heavy vehicles. And if you were to look into different classes 4 to 6, for instance, would be box trucks, step van, bucket trucks, and school buses. Class 7 to 8, which is in development currently, is refuse trucks, transit buses, tow trucks, and semi-tractors. Now moving on towards Biden's plan. Here, this article says Biden plan to replace government fleets with electrical vehicles. And the reason I'm mentioning this one here, if you do remember, the United States Postal Services had a massive issue with their mail-in trucks or the last mile trucks. And there was a massive exploration towards making them into an EV. And I definitely think that since these are usually federal, I definitely think that Biden is probably thinking of something like this. And XL can be actually a viable option to turning these ones at least hybrid for the older fleet if they're not going to be replaced, or even turning the older fleet to full electric once that technology becomes readily available. Take a look on the well, actually, sorry, my bad, not on top. Take a look here on the 19th. You have around 20,000 shares added. On the 16th, 47,000. On the 12th, around 20,000. So that is still bullish. Not a lot of institutional activity. It's a little bit concerning, but I definitely do think that later on in the future, we might actually see even further on of institutional buyers, and that's exciting there for me. So we kind of covered that. Just double check here that this is the right XL as well. So right there, it's XL. Yep, it is the right XL. Perfect. Now, coming on towards next toward technical analysis. If you haven't done so, please make sure to subscribe and notifications on. It helps my channel a lot. So on a 1 week perspective, oh, and by the way, if you would like to join our Discord free chat room, you feel free to do so. It's basically, you can ask me more questions further up or follow up on some of my previous DDs. So here on the 1 week perspective, we get to see the 10 SMA is above the 30 EMA. Yes, that is bullish. The price point is 2082 to 1585. That is kind of the range where you start expecting a positive reversal. Below the 1585, things start looking a little bit uglier. The price point is above 50 SMA. ADX, we don't need to worry about it. SPACs usually suck with ADX. Next is the William percent R. You get to see this one is actually highly oversold. MACD is attempting a negative reversal, and momentum is dipping, still positive, but it's still the rate of change of momentum is negative. Now, on the 1 day perspective, things are actually starting to look really bearish. Ever since around the 16th of February, you're starting to see the 30 EMA is going to be above the 10 SMA. That's bearish. 50 SMA is still above the 200 SMA, but the price point is below the 50 SMA. And if you're not familiar with these moving averages, I made a video on it before. It's in the description below. But generally speaking, you want the price point to be above the 50 SMA and the 200 SMA, and you want the 10 SMA above the 30 EMA. Unfortunately, we only have one out of these four requirements, 200 SMA, and so mostly bearish. The ADX shows it's actually going on towards a negative trend here. William percent R is showing at a 96.44, which is highly oversold. It's the opposite of RSI, by the way. And then the MACD here is showing that a negative reversal is throughout, and the momentum here is highly negative. Now, on a 2 hour perspective, we get to see that things are actually looking still bad. They're still looking like a downward trend. You get to see all these moving averages are pulling downwards, and your 30 EMA is above the 10 SMA, and that bearish trading action zone where negative reversals are likely would probably be escaped around 19 bucks. Now, moving on towards the moving averages. Here's the thing that with this one, it didn't usually trade within the moving average band for a while, but seeing this one here, it's actually starting to dip down. It's expected to trade 2177 at the top, 1979 in the middle, and 17 81 in the bottom. Now it's actually escaping that Bollinger Bands and the moving average band, and what that might mean is one of two things: is that it's going to slingshot backwards similar to this one here, or that the trend, because the volume is a lot lower, people are just moving on towards the next thing and they're fed up. Now, stochastic fast and stochastic slow are showing that there is another perhaps pullback or another low that might come down. And for this, we need to look at significant supports and resistances. We need to know what are support and significant resistance levels to anticipate, well, how far off will the price action go. And I'll explain a little bit this further. So the significant Fibonacci retracement support currently is at 1589. The one below it is $10. Significant resistance 1954, 2249, 2544, 2964, and the $35. And if we were to just draw price line actions, you get to see the very significant resistance onto this one is probably going down to 1836 to the 1863 range. Above there, you're looking at 2241. Above there, you're probably looking at 26, $30, etc. Significant supports is what we're interested in. Where is the bottom? We already broken into this one here. I mean, maybe 1753. That might be actually your ultimate support, and that's a massive test. Below there, you're looking down at 1557. So you see things start dropping. 1427, and then you got your really significant one at 1348, 1246, 1097. And now comes to the question to, well, is there actually any trends? All right, well, let's try to see here. This trend line, this is the one I had, and it actually broken down. It was actually a channel. Currently, things are just looking like they accumulated and they just dropped after a while. And a lot of people ask me, well, what do you think about this one? And this is the reason why I'm making this video. I like XL. I believe in what they do. Now, the biggest problem is that their valuation, they're not yet net positive, at least based on their valuations. And there's a bit of weight and there's exponential growth that is expected. Unfortunately, if you're trading this one, this might actually see a bit further of a pullback. If you're investing, I suggest an investment time range of 2 to 3 years. I understand that in this trade market, in this crazy bullish market, is that you're expecting 1,000% return in 2 weeks. And unfortunately, this is not one of these stocks that is going to follow this one. I mean, it did at some point go for almost 400%, and that is because of the SPAC froth. And you need things to settle down a little. And for their valuations, I mean, do I see it drop down below? Perhaps, maybe to the $15. I'll start adding below the $15 if it does dip there. Around $10, I'll go a bigger position if it does ever go there. Now, I really doubt it's going to do so. But this one is a long-term investment, and you treat it just as that. So you buy it, you set it, and you forget about it for a couple of years. What do you think about a sticker? Make sure to mention down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like. You have a wonderful day.